Hi everyone, it's Amanda Murphy and I'm here today to tell you how I quilted block 3 of my Meadow Minis pattern. So this is the tulip block, and basically I basted around my entire block through my batting and my backing, leaving the margins that you're instructed to leave on the directions. You'll need that for when you assemble it as a quilt as you go. And then I quilted around all the major elements. And right here you'll see I'm quilting around the tulip. I added in one step when I was quilting around the tulip. So when I got to a corner, I quilted around the entire thing in the ditch. And then when I got to a corner of the tulip, I switched to a curved ruler. And I do this a lot of times on blocks just to add simple accents. I'm going to use the curve of this ruler to quilt from point to point. And there I just showed you that the edge of my ruler should be a 1/4 inch away from the point I'm trying to hit. So there, the edge of the ruler is a 1/4 inch away from my triangle corner. And I'm going to stitch right down to it. Right here I'm using the BERNINA straight line ruler and the BERNINA 4-in-1 ruler. You could use really any ruler that has a gentle curve on it, including circles. So now I'm going to stitch across. Now, here as I stitch across, oh, sorry, it's hard to see there. If your ruler slips just a little bit, just realign it. Don't keep going to a point that you know isn't going to hit. Realign your ruler and then keep stitching. Take your time. Now I probably continue on with my straight line ruler and go down the rest of my tulip stem. So I just added that simple motif in that center triangle of each tulip while I was in the process of stitching in the ditch around every tulip. And here I go back down the stem. And I'm going to stitch around the leaves and continue on and go to the next tulip. So here I'm going to show you how to do it with the Westerly ruler. So I'm coming along, coming to a central point, and then I'm going to use the curved part of this ruler. Now, this ruler is the 6-inch curve, I believe, but I didn't think it was deep enough, so I used their other little curve tool that comes in their sampler set. Again, you can use circles, you can use whatever curve fits the size of your shape. So I'm trying to stitch to the other triangle corner. The edge of my ruler is a 1/4 inch away from the point I'm trying to hit. Because again, with ruler work, your needle is a 1/4 inch away from the edge of your foot. So now, oh, that's not going to work too well. The ruler's not big enough. So here comes my 6-inch arc. And I'm going to stitch all the way across. Now, of course, if you're doing this on a domestic machine, you're moving the ruler and the quilt sandwich as one. What really can help is either a Supreme slider or a free motion glider on the bed of your machine to reduce friction, and then this Westerly stable tape or other tape that really gives you more friction between the ruler and the fabric, so the ruler truly carries the fabric. So see, we have this nice regular curve. And you know, the bigger the shape, the harder it is to free motion those gradual curves. Okay, now once I did all the elements, then I quilted parallel lines down the back, kind of in the sky behind the tulips. And what I did was I quilted every other line 1 inch apart, and the ones in between 1/2 inch apart, because it was my intention to go and fill those 1/2 inch channels and leave kind of puffy the 1 inch channels. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm using my ruler to travel in the ditch to get to my next line. So now the next line is going to be 1 inch. So you can see it's going to be 3 markings down, which would be 3/4 of an inch on the ruler, and then another 1/4 inch, of course, between the needle and the edge of the foot. That gives me a line that's 1 inch away from my previous line. So I did this, and then I traveled up the side and made another line, this time 1/2 inch away, so you can see it up close here. Now, once I was done, I changed the foot for you so you can see it. I quilted pebbles in those little channels. Now, I'll tell you, I know my limits, and my quilting pebbles that look like circles in the 1 inch channel would be touch and go. So instead, I made some narrower channels where I could comfortably quilt pebbles, because I know I can do 1/2 inch pebbles. Not so sure that my 1 inch pebbles they don't look like circles. Let's just put it that way. So I don't set myself up for disaster that way. So now I'm going to do a partial pebble right up here. Okay. And I'd come down and start the next row. Now, the advantage of my using a ruler foot here would be that I could use my ruler to travel from row to row. But, of course, I can't see as well with the ruler foot. So it's a trade-off. You have to think, what type of motif are you doing? And do you want to switch off your ruler foot, or do you want to switch to a free motion foot? Okay. Now I'm doing it with the Westerly ruler, so you can see the markings on the Westerly ruler. I'm doing the same thing I did before. So here I go doing a 1-inch channel, and then I'm going to use the edge of my ruler to travel along the edge of my tulip to do the next channel. And this one's going to be 1/2 inch, because remember, I want to leave a 1/2 inch channel, and I'm showing you here. That's a 1/4 inch marking on my ruler. So when you combine that with the distance between the needle and the foot, that's 1/2 inch. Remember, I wanted to leave a 1/2 inch channel to do those pebbles, because I don't really feel confident of doing pebbles much larger than 3/4 inch. So here I am using my ruler foot to do the pebbles, and you can see it does impede my view a little bit. I'm really used to it. If you can teach yourself to free motion quilt with the ruler foot, there is a real advantage in that, since it saves you time. You don't have to end your threads to start free motioning, but sometimes it's better to use an open toe if you have trouble seeing. So the last thing I quilted was the grass area, and I just did a simple fishbone pattern, up and down and up and down and up and down. And when I teach this pattern, the biggest problem I see is people kind of tilting the connection points. So when you do your loop, go straight down to the other loop and then straight up. Don't try to do curves in between, because it kind of messes you up. Just do your loop and go straight up into the next loop. Do your loop and go straight up into the next loop. This is a go-to design for me because it works up so fast. It actually looks great wide or narrow. I've done it both ways. And because I was on a time crunch here, I guess I'm using Aurifil cotton here. Sometimes I use monofilament, but here I have a Aurifil 50 weight cotton. I'm really excited about their 40 weight cotton that's coming out, though. So you can see I'm going to go all the way across the row. I hope you've enjoyed learning to quilt block 3 of my Meadow Minis pattern.